ready to go?
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Perfect. You wake up coughing and sputtering and covered in dirt, and boy, does your head hurt. You're lying in a shallow grave, surrounded by corpses. The last thing you remember is the caravan getting attacked. It all happened so fast. They must have missed finishing you off. A nearby fire is lit, and three figures sit crouched around it. They seem to be celebrating and haven't noticed you yet. What do you do?
I'm gonna continue lying there and wait until they're gone and just pretend to be dead.
I love it. Okay.
I'm a wuss.
So, go ahead and make me a perception check. That is going to be 1d20 plus whatever your wisdom modifier is.
All right, the modifier. Oh boy.
All right. Now, unfortunately, there's just a little bit too much gunk, viscera, whatever it might be, just blocking your sight. But you do hear a little bit of rustling from somewhere else in the pile of bodies. And that is when you see this other elf slowly start to try to sneakily get out of the pile, like slowly moving an arm away or moving a leg away and just very, very timidly trying to sort of get up.
Hmm.
You still don't do anything?
I'm still gonna pretend to lay dead.
Okay. For the sake of the story, then the elf that you saw trying to get away does get away. They run off into the woods, and the figures that you saw crouching around the fire, they see this other elf just run into the woods. They very sneakily got out of the pile of bodies, and the moment they were free, they just booked it. Not sneakily at all. So these three figures, they all get up, they start shouting, and one of them picks up the shovel next to them, and they all start just chasing after this elf. And after about 5 minutes or so, you feel like the coast is clear and nobody is around.
All right, I'm going to get up quietly and I'm going to do a quick check of I'm just gonna glance around the campfire and see if there are any tools, anything that's useful.
Yeah, go ahead, make me another perception check, and we'll see what you can find. Because I'm assuming you're doing this pretty quickly. You're not gonna stay and try to search around. You want to get in there and get out as fast as possible.
Yes.
All right.
Ah,
So with a 15, yeah, you find a dagger that one of them left on the ground. Along with it, you find what you think is a coin purse. It's just a small little burlap sack. You could pick it up in the palm of your hand if you wanted to. Besides that, it's just food, a little bit of drink, some of the caravan materials that you were transporting before, like clothing, silks. Nothing you think would
mm.
be particularly interesting. It is valuable if you want to pick it up, but it wouldn't help you in your current situation.
All right, I'm taking the dagger and the pouch.
Perfect. It feels a little bit not quite as hard as you would imagine it would feel if there were coins inside it, but you do pick it up. You pick up the dagger. What are you going to do now?
I am going to hit in the opposite direction where the goblins ran and the other elf went.
Okay, perfect. Right now you're in a little bit of a clearing. You feel like you might remember the general direction that you guys were heading. It might have been north, and north might be that way. So you just start heading back towards where you think the road is.
Hmm.
And we'll say about a minute passes, not very long. You know, you've run off in the other direction. And I'll have you make one more perception check. All right, 18. 18 is great. So you've sort of stopped. You know, you're catching your breath. You have just woken up. Your head hurts. You're a little bit wounded. You're not exactly sure what happened, but you know that whatever happened wasn't good. So you're just trying to get your bearings, and then you hear some rustling in the bushes, not very far away, maybe just 10 feet.
Hmm.
You think you see a shadow skitter by.
I'm going to approach the shadow and demand that they show themselves.
All right, and how do you do that? Do you just yell out to the bushes like, "Hey, come out with your hands up"?
Oh, okay. I will be I'll take out the dagger and I'll point towards the bushes while walking slowly towards it. I will like, come out right now. Who are you? Show yourselves.
All right, all right. And then what happens is you go towards this bush and it's rustling and everything, and then I'm gonna need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh God, I'm gonna die again.
So that would just be a d20 plus your dexterity modifier since we're not proficient in saving throws.
Okay.
Oh, look at that,
Wow.
22. All right, so this large spider probably comes up to about your knees. You know, it's like 2, 3 feet long. Just
Ugh.
drops from like the tree above you. And you see it and you just absolutely nope away from it as it sort of pounces on where you were before, like sinking its teeth into the dirt instead of you, you know?
Hmm.
And then this spider, it's a little bit dazed because it was expecting about a 5 foot drop. Instead, it got about a 10 foot drop, 15.
Mm-hmm.
So now you are in combat, and we're going to roll
Alright.
initiative. So to roll initiative, it's just another d20, and then it's plus your initiative modifier.
Energy. Okay. Oh boy.
You rolled a lot better than the spider, though. Okay, so you get to go first. I do have all of the spells open so I can tell you what they do if you want to cast a cantrip or if you just want to stab this spider that's pretty much right at your feet right now.
Hmm. Well, let's go with the classic firebolt.
All right, let's do Firebolt. So I'm going to need you to make a ranged spell attack. So for that, you're going to do the 1d20 and then plus your spell attack bonus.
Spell attack bonus.
That should be on your third page of your character sheet up there at the top. That was that 2 plus
Ah,
your
okay.
charisma modifier.
So one d20 plus spell attack bonus.
Yes. Awesome. You know, a 20 definitely hits. So when you are rolling an attack, what you are trying to do is you are trying to beat your opponent's armor class. For us, our armor
Oh.
class is a 10, so all anything would need to do is roll above a 10 to hit.
Mm.
And then you generally aren't aware of the armor class of whatever you're trying to hit, but that's what you're trying to beat. So if you had
Mm.
rolled a 2, a 3, you probably wouldn't hit, and then your spell would have, gone into the bushes, set a small twig on fire. But in this case, you absolutely hit this spider, and it makes a terrible little screeching noise. And then
Mm-hmm.
on a hit from Firebolt, the target takes 1d10 fire damage. So now I'm going to need you to roll 1d10 instead of 1d20. Perfect. And then you roll 8 damage. That's a really good roll.
I think this is bot might be a bit not as random.
I think you're just lucky today.
Hmm.
So you do 8 damage to this spider, and oh boy, this is a powerful firebolt. Whatever head trauma you might have suffered has not affected your abilities in the slightest. You just absolutely, without thinking about it, just snap your fingers and you just absolutely singe this thing. It is still alive. It is mad, but it's like you can see one of its legs is sort of like shriveled off now.
Uh,
And now it is the spider's turn. So the spider, it is going to try to bite you. So it is going to like skitter up and it's going to kind of bite at your leg here because that's about all it can reach. Now I am
mhm.
rolling my dice in real life, so I will apologize to you and I will apologize to the recording if it is very loud. I hope it's not. All right, I also rolled a 20. However, my 20 was a natural 20, which is great because now I can teach you how critical hits work.
Okay.
So, all DMs do critical hits differently. For your attack, we're going to use your firebolt as an example, and normally spells don't critically succeed, but some DMs let you. So if you had rolled a 20 on your firebolt and you're doing 1d10 damage, the crit lets you add an additional 1d10 to your dice. Some
Oh.
DMs just give you another max dice, so it would have been 1d10 plus 10. That's normally how I do crits, but in this case, we're
Mm-hmm.
going to go with the more popular one where we just add another dice. So now I am going to roll damage, and good news for you, the spider's bite does not do a lot of damage, so we're going to see how much damage it does with a crit. All right, I rolled a 2 and a 1. So you're going to take 3 points of piercing damage. Damage type
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter because you don't have any resistances or weaknesses. So you just take 3 points of damage. You're going to put that in your current hit points, but keep your hit point maximum at 7. So you
Ah,
should be down to
okay.
4.
Mm.
And then that is the
Okay.
spider's turn. It is making some terrible noises while this is happening. The skittering in the bush, it's still happening. The bush is still moving around and about, but nothing's come out of the bush yet. It is your turn.
You're still in combat, so yep, why not another fireball? Actually, hmm, chill touch. Technically speaking, could I freeze the spider? Hmm. Nah, you know what? Let's roast it.
All right, another firebolt.
Yes.
All right, make me another spell attack.
D20 plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
That is okay. That would be sorry, so the plus 5. Sorry, I forgot where it came from.
The plus 5, it comes from your spell attack bonus on that last
Right.
page.
Okay.
That's your attack bonus, but for spells.
Mm.
Lucky for you, a 7 barely hits.
Ah.
And had you rolled a 6, it would not have hit. The spider, if you match the AC of whatever you're fighting, the defender wins. So if something rolled a
Ah.
10 to hit you, it would just sort of like bounce off your clothing, basically.
Mm,
So it does hit. So go ahead and roll me your damage.
9.
This is, I'm really impressed with these damage rolls right now. You absolutely do. You throw this firebolt at this spider, and do you want to describe how you singe it?
Does it die?
It does die.
Alright, it's gonna start crackling, and there's this disgusting burnt smell in the air. And I guess I'm hungry, but it might be a bit appetizing. Roasted roasted spider.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want, it's a little bit on fire right now. It's probably a little too hot to eat, but you could easily kick a little bit of dirt on it, put out the fire, take it with you, snack for later.
Okay, I was worried that it would get a bit too weird for you.
All right. Now the bushes are still moving, and you hear a little, like, sort of squeal from them, a little bit of a squeak.
Hmm.
The
Also,
spider's
the thing is
dead.
still in the bush.
There is something still in the bush.
Alright, I'm gonna yell out, well, you come out now. Or else you're gonna. I'm not gonna share this roasted spider with you.
Yeah, nothing happens. You can still hear everything. The bushes are rustling. After you say something, it starts to rustle more.
Huh. Is there any way to make like a check on like figure out what's going on in there without like physically getting in?
um, yes, you have a few options. You can roll a perception check to look around the area. You can maybe roll an animal handling check to figure out what that noise was that was made. You could throw something into the bush and see what happens.
Okay, I'll try a animal handling check.
Okay, that is a d20 and your wisdom modifier.
Okay.
You
Oh
know,
boy. Well,
with a natural one, you don't think you've heard this before. I mean, it could be anything. You haven't spent a lot of time around animals in the forest, so you're not entirely sure. It's definitely maybe an animal.
all right. Well, let's get our hands a bit dirty. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna reach into the bush
Okay,
and
okay.
attempt to touch whatever that is.
Perfect. So you just reach into this bush. Are you gonna try to like part the bushes and try to see in there, or are you just blindly like sticking your arm in, seeing what happens?
I'm gonna part the bushes a little bit, and if I can't see anything, I'm outright just sticking my hands in.
Okay. If you were a human, I would make you roll perception here because it is the middle of the night. It's not very bright outside, but with your elven dark vision, you see perfectly that this is like a weasel that's sort of been caught in like a small bear trap and is just
Oh.
frantically trying to free itself.
Mm. Um, I guess it's just scared and it's not gonna really want to harm me if I free it, so I'm gonna I'm gonna attempt to undo the bear trap and let it free.
Okay, I will say you have some options here because it is panicked. It's probably not going to just let you touch it, come near it. So you can either roll an animal handling check to try to calm it down first, or you can roll a sleight of hand check to try to disarm the bear trap so quickly it doesn't have a chance to bite you. And I'll leave that choice up to you.
I'll go with the animal handling check.
All right, roll it.
That's a 10, right? D10.
That's a 1d20 plus your wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you do not manage to calm it down at all. You can continue to try. I will tell you it is being loud and you're not all that far away from where that camp was. You don't
All right,
hear anybody coming for you, but you don't feel like you have the time to just continue.
I'm gonna do one sleight of hand check.
All right,
And if
roll
this
it.
fails, I will run away.
That would be 1d20 and your dex modifier.
All right.
Okay, I
Okay,
was
at
worried
least
it
that
wasn't
isn't too
working there.
bad.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
You rolled a 14. All right, so you try really hard to make this weasel your friend. You soften your voice, you open your palms. You don't really know animal speak or anything, but you're doing your best. And it is not having any of it. So you sort of give up on that approach and you're like, okay, whatever, I can just do this super quickly.
Mm.
And you pretty much you look at the bear trap for a second, figure out how to disarm it, and then you just go for it. You just go, you unhitch it, and the weasel, it takes it a second to realize that it's free, and then it just runs off.
All right.
And you did a good deed.
Well, at
If
least it didn't bite me.
it did not bite you, if there were karma in this game, you would have gained some karma there. I will give you
Oh,
inspiration for it, so you can choose to use that at any point during the rest of this session.
sure.
And now roll a perception check for me.
Okay. Perception.
Okay, not bad. That's kind of middle of the road. That's enough to pass this check.
All
So
right.
you've just freed the weasel. You're still under a little bit of a time limit. You're trying to get away. You're trying to figure out what happened. And this perception check did two things. The first one is you do hear the voices of not very happy people from the direction you came. I'd
Mm-hmm.
imagine you were just as quick to leave as the other elf, so there is a little bit of a trail, like broken twigs, branches, for them to
Mm.
try to follow to your location. But it also let you see the way to the path that you were looking for. So if you would like to continue running to the path, you can do so, or you can do something completely different. It's up to you.
Um, I think I would, yeah, I'll continue running down the path, but I'll stick closer to the trees.
All right. Perfect. So are you making a mad dash for this? Are you trying to be a little stealthier? Are you trying to cover your tracks behind you at all? Do you want to light a fire behind you so that they're a little bit distracted with the upcoming forest fire they might have to deal with?
I think I would just be a bit more careful where I step, um, just to make sure that I don't leave too obvious a trail behind.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a stealth roll. This is mostly gonna just see how good you are at avoiding snapping twigs, getting like your hair caught on other stuff, just anything that would help them find you. This is how good you are at avoiding those things.
And that's a D22, right?
Yep, d20 plus your dexterity modifier.
All right.
Perfect. With a 23, I think you're gonna be really golden. So
Sweet.
you go along this path, you're being a little bit slower, you're being a little bit more careful, and You feel like you may have lost them. It's been about probably 15 minutes or so of a slow pace, but you don't hear them behind you anymore. You feel like you might have gotten far enough away. It might be, you might be able to take a breather and get a better idea of what you'd like to do now.
Hmm. All right. Is hunger and thirst a thing in D&D?
Some DMs like to make D&D a little bit more challenging and they will add those mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, if you just eat some rations every day, that's fine. You do have 10 days of rations in your explorer's pack, so you're more than welcome to sit down and eat some.
All
You
right.
also have a water skin.
Well, I guess I am most likely feeling a bit hungry from everything that just happened, so I'm gonna sit down and have a small snack. Oh, I have a spider.
You do, you have the roasted spider.
All right, I'm gonna sit down and take a breather, and I'm gonna just finish off the roasted spider.
Perfect.
Good
Yeah,
snack.
it's fantastically cooked, as well as a roasted spider with no seasoning can be. It's filling enough. If you like spiders, you probably think it's delicious. A job well done. All right. So you would gain the benefits of a short rest here. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to roll your hit dice to recover any hit points, you could do that. If you were a different class that regained spell slots during short rests, you might be able to regain spell slots or do anything like that. But for you, it's
Mm.
just a chance to sit down, breathe, relax, maybe recover a bit of hit points. Take a look at the little bite on your leg and make sure it wasn't too bad.
Mm. Mm, I had a question, but I forgot what it was.
No worries. If you remember, please ask. Please also feel free to interrupt me to ask.
All right.
Do you want to regain any hit points? I think you
Oh
only
yes,
lost three,
that
right?
yeah, I lost three. So how often is it like it automatic hit points are automatically recovered over periods of time, or are they just if I don't do anything to it, it just stays as it is?
When you take a long rest, your hit points go back to maximum.
I see. And usually, how do we do recovery of hit points during like short rest in terms of what race we are and yeah.
That's where you would roll your hit dice, and that's all class based. Different classes, they would have different hit dice that have different values. But
Mm,
since you're a sorcerer, you have a 1d6. So you would just roll the 1d6, and then whatever you roll on there, that's how many hit points you get back, up to your hit point maximum.
I see. Okay, sure, why not? I will roll a 1d6.
Go for it.
Nice.
Wonderful. All right. So you get back up to 7 hit points. You look at the spider bite. You make sure you don't have to drain it or anything. It really doesn't look that bad. It's more of like a scratch, and then you just sort of
Hmm.
bandage it up a little bit, and you feel pretty good.
Oh,
All right. So your caravan has been attacked. As far as you're aware, everybody else in the caravan is dead. You know exactly what happened to the goods since you saw all of that at the camp. You know there was a survivor, but the survivor ran off.
mm,
Now you're alone in the forest. Your job was to make sure the caravan made it to town all right. So there might be a town nearby that you could try to make your way towards. You could go back and see what's at the camp. You could try to find somewhere safe and make camp for the night. The options are yours.
How far away is the town I was supposed to go to? Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me a 1d20, just flat. All right, good for you. A low roll was good here.
Oh,
So you think by the time that you guys got attacked, you were maybe 4 or 5 hours away. You think with the distance you've made following the path in hopefully the right direction, you should be about 3 hours away by now. You haven't seen
mm,
any landmarks to mark where you're at, but that's sort of how you feel it should have gone.
mm. All right. Right now, is it nighttime? Is it nightish?
Yeah, you'd probably have spent plenty of days outside, so you'd know based on where the moon is. It's gonna be night for probably a good few hours. You've probably got at least 6 or 7 more until the sun starts to come up.
All right. Um, I will slowly make my way to town. Um, yeah.
All right. Nothing else eventful happens. You make your way towards the town. The standard happens. You wake up a few birds, they get a little angry at you and start chirping and trying to defend their nests. They stare at you as you walk past. And eventually you do see the lights of town in the distance. You're pretty sure it's the town you're supposed to be going to. There's no other towns in this area that you can recall. There are almost no lights lit, there's only a few people you see patrolling back and forth with torches. There's a large building, almost a little bit on the outskirts of town, that has a few lanterns open and on in the distance, and you have made it to town.
Nice.
Do you just want to stare at
Oh,
it?
I thought you were thinking. All right. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be close to dawn, so I'm gonna go to the gates and see if I can get it.
Yeah, you go up to this gate, and one of the guards with the torches sort of, he tells you to stop. And he's like, identify yourself. Why you're covered in blood, and I need a really good reason to let you in tonight because it's been one hell of a noisy night.
Ah, well, I'm gonna explain to him the situation, that I was supposed to help deliver goods, but the caravan was attacked, and I managed to get away by the sliver of my teeth, fought a giant spider, and yes, I'm just here to deliver the news that the caravan has been attacked and the goods are gone.
All right, make me a persuasion check with advantage because you're telling the truth. So that means
Persuasion.
roll your d20, add your charisma modifier, and do it twice.
Oh, so I get double the rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, see? So that's great because you rolled a 23 and a 4, which is awesome because you rolled a natural 20 and a natural 1. You get to take the 20 there because advantage means you get to take the higher roll. If it was disadvantage, you would have to take the lower roll.
Mm.
So Yeah, you tell this guard about like, hey, our caravan was attacked. I'm the only survivor that I know about. I have been through hell just trying to get here to deliver this news. Please let me in. And he thinks about it for a second, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, go in. You'll want to head to the guard tower. You'll want to let the captain of the guard know we've been having problems with bandits lately. Tell them exactly where they were, so that we can try to send out a contingent and deal with this." And you are let into the town. And that
Hmm.
is where we will stop the session for now. Unless
All
you have
right.
any questions or there's anything that you think you'd like to learn, we can go through that real quick.
Oh, I was just wondering, was the elf that ran the other way
Oh,
your
that was
character?
me. Yeah, that was me.
Oh shit, sorry, I didn't go chasing after you.
That's okay. That's okay. We made it work. Just because you are in a party, generally your DM wants you to stay together, but you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. Just because one of the other players goes running off into the woods, if you think it's a stupid idea to go running off into the woods, you don't have to go and run off with them.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't have any questions, and that was really wonderful. Thank you for such detailed explanations and explaining to me all the questions I had. This has been wonderful, and I have learned so much more.
Good,
Yes.
good. I'm glad. And if you ever have any questions, you are more than welcome to DM me. I'm probably going to try to do more like this in the future. So,
Hmm.
just reach out. I'm glad you learned something. I'm glad it went well, even if it was just you. We made it work.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, thank you very much. If I have friends that they want to learn deeper into the system like I did, I would definitely recommend you to them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I think we're good to call it.
Yeah, thanks for being such a great teacher.
Thank you for showing up. Good night.
Okay, thank you. Good night.